person, Trosch. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll go. One thing that I noticed as an in-law, and I speak as an in-law or outlaw rather than part of the family, but both Ted and Mary have very, very deep roots. Now, Ted came from the farm in Indiana, and I think that when you people got him off the farm, you made a wise decision. TC has a garden. I have to tell this story because I don't really know the roots of this story, but I'm going to tell it because it is a true story. Sometimes the best stories are true stories. TC has a tomato garden, and every spring he loves to plant those tomatoes. TC is one of the few men that I know that every day he gets up, he puts on a suit. Now, I don't know how you plant seeds in Indiana, but he does all his garden work in his suit. And he goes and he works on those tomato plants, and he gets his shoes muddy, and he comes in, and then Mary can't understand where the mud comes from. That's kind of TC's roots, real farm man. Now, Mary came from Chicago. She's got some deep roots in Chicago. And maybe some of you people from Chicago can tell me Mary's interesting connection with poisons. Mary is scared to death of poisons. Now, one thing about TC, when he plants those tomatoes, they grow. And in the summer, one thing about TC is he doesn't waste anything. And he has bushels and bushels of tomatoes, and he brings them to our house, and we eat every one of those tomatoes. He makes sure we eat them. Well, one spring, he had some bugs on those tomato plants. And I got a call from Mary, and Mary was very, very upset. She said, TC has some bugs on the tomatoes, and he is going to spray those bugs with poison. And we're all going to die. Now, one thing about TC is he's got two left hands. He's not very good with hand coordination. About that time, TC comes flying down the street. You can always tell when TC's coming because you can hear the car. And of course, now being a suburbanite, we always seed the lawn and fertilize the lawn in the spring so that we can cut all the grass in the summer. TC comes, we have a driveway now. Driveways are not for cars. TC, he comes right on the lawn. He charges right on the lawn. He comes charging in there and he says, I need your sprayer. I got some bugs on my tomato plants and we got to kill them. So I rigged that sprayer so that it wouldn't spray right. He said, you come on up here with me. Okay, TC, I'll come up with you. So he gets that sprayer and he tries to spray the poison. It doesn't come out. You better fix this sprayer. Okay, TC, I'll fix it. Mary standing behind TC, please do something. So as a final last resort, I said, TC, I said, you know, them bugs are God's creatures too. You know, they have the right to live just as much as your tomatoes. He looked at me and he said, if God wants them tomatoes, them bugs to live, he better get them the heck off my tomatoes. But at any rate, I wanted to toast TC and Mary, my law partner, my confidant, and my two best friends.
Well, again, being the very first one brave enough to join this immediate family, it has been quite an experience. This is a very momentous, happy occasion for two very special people. And I know we've all enjoyed every bit of it. I thought about a couple of days ago, Carol and brother didn't do that because you got cut off by writing speech. I thought about writing something that would be appropriate because for the 50 years that's something very special. But that's just not like me anyway, to write something down. Some people say I'm a little bit of a hip shooter, whatever you want to call it. I guess I kind of like to say it like it is. not being a Shakespeare or Browning or somebody like that. I'm sure whatever I would have written would have been kind of second best, and this wouldn't be an occasion for second best. I thought about, what do you say about in-laws? And I remember listening to all kind of people that tell in-law stories. And boy, you can hear some doozies. And I guess a lot of them are in jest, but in many cases they're true. And I think it's rather interesting to stand around in a group and they start on in-laws. And some of them are very disparaging and indicting stories. And then they wait after they tell you these stories as if you're supposed to join in. Well, I've always been very happy that I was never qualified, never had any reason to join in to those disparaging stories. I guess you could kind of paraphrase it like the old eastern North Carolina farmer spitting tobacco and saying, "Ain't never had no in-law problem." And I could say a lot of things, but I think that might well be the best compliment that I could say to him. I heard a preacher say one time that he and his wife had lived together 20-some years and had never had an argument or a major disagreement. I began quietly to question his integrity on such a statement, and I thought, well, it's either one or two things. That's the dullest marriage in the world, or he's the biggest liar in the world. I'm not sure which. And I still contend that's not possible for couples. But I can contend here that that has been possible between son-in-law and mother and father-in-law, because we have never had a major knockdown disagreement. And that's meant a lot to me. And I'd just like to say to them, as they have come to celebrate these 50 years, and I guess some people would say that's the time when you begin to reach the sunset years. I agree with somebody I heard say the other day that those are not sunset years. They're the years of the greatest health and happiness and enjoyment that life can give you. And I certainly want to wish the two of you the greatest health and happiness that life can give you.